This is the only comic adaptation film with a flawless cast. Even J-Cho would give it a thumbs up. This tough-looking guy is Takeo Goda, sincere and kind-hearted. If he sees someone falling into the river, he'll dive in without a second thought. But his scary appearance often triggers an incredible survival instinct in kids he saves. Once on shore, adults who don't know him accuse Takeo of being a kidnapper. His good buddy Sunakawa rushes to explain, but Takeo doesn't care about misunderstandings, and no one listens to Sunakawa anyway.
ありがとうございます。いや、
俺じゃないんで。
本当にありがとうございます。
助けたのは彼です。
Both of them are undeniably the school's heartthrobs. Takeo is always surrounded by a group of adoring fans. Sunakawa, on the other hand, isn't as lucky. He faces the jealousy of the boys and the overwhelming admiration of all the girls. He's constantly troubled by how to reject them politely. Takeo doesn't get it. He looks Sunakawa up and down, trying to figure out where he's lacking, getting lost in thought. Just then, they see a thug harassing a girl.
こんな短いスカート履いちゃって。本当は誘ってんじゃないの？ドキッとしちゃった？
Takeo steps in immediately to stop him.
ドキッとしたか？
His sudden intervention scares the thug away but also frightens the girl. Takeo quickly apologizes to her, used to being misunderstood because of his looks, but he still envies Sunakawa, wishing he could get the girl's admiration too. Suddenly, Takeo stops in his tracks as someone tugs at his sleeve. It turns out the girl wasn't scared of Takeo, she was just in shock. After regaining her composure, she ran up to thank him.
ありがとう。
For the first time, a girl smiles at Takeo, and he falls for her instantly. The next day after school, Takeo and the girl unexpectedly run into each other again.
ヤマト、リンコと言います。
ゴーダ、タケオです。
After an awkward introduction, their eyes naturally drift to Sunakawa. To show her gratitude, the girl brought a homemade cake. One smile from the girl, and Takeo falls for her again. Just then, the shy girl suddenly speaks.
とか、いるんですか?
The atmosphere between the three becomes quite delicate. Though she didn't name names, her gaze is clearly on Sunakawa, and Takeo knows he's not considered handsome, though Takeo had anticipated that Rinko might be interested in him because of Sunakawa. It's still stung. After composing himself, Takeo chooses friendship over love. He excuses himself to the restroom to calm down and returns to find Sunakawa chatting comfortably with Rinko. Though he really likes Rinko, this is the first time he's seen his good buddy Sunakawa not be repelled by a girl. Takeo decides to let them be together. He makes a small request, hoping Rinko will continue making delicious treats for him. It would soothe him and give the two more opportunities to meet. Sunakawa and Rinko exchange a look, then glance at Takeo. For Takeo, liking someone is akin to heartbreak. He channels his pain into intense training with his wrestling club. To better matchmake the two, Takeo asks Sunakawa what type of girl he likes. Knowing him for over a decade, Takeo had never dared to ask before. It seemed like Sunakawa wasn't really into girls. Sunakawa admits he's never thought about it, so he doesn't know how to answer.
体操？ あの子はどっちだ？なんなんだ。
Takeo realizes that Rinko has nothing to do with gymnastics. He encourages Sunakawa to try meeting girls outside the gymnastics circle. To help them get closer, Takeo facilitates an exchange of phone numbers. Once they successfully swap contacts, he relaxes and enjoys the treat. Sunakawa thoughtfully wipes a crumb from Takeo's mouth. Seeing this, Rinko cautiously asks Takeo about it.
名前で呼んでいい? タケオくんって。
The more Takeo likes her, the more it hurts. To distract himself, he trains even harder. At their next meeting, Rinko made a special cake. Every smile from the girl makes Takeo fall deeper. He is incredibly jealous of Sunakawa, but to support his friend, he balances between intense training and indulging in sweets. Rinko kindly tells Takeo to eat slowly and pours him a glass of water, only to find the cup empty. Sunakawa volunteered to get drinks, leaving Takeo and Rinko to spend time together. To ease the awkwardness, Rinko asks what Sunakawa is like. Takeo praises Sunakawa without hesitation, calling him a genius, handsome, kind, and not a flirt. Once Takeo starts praising Sunakawa, he doesn't stop until Rinko interrupts.
砂川くんのことが大好きなんだね。
あいつは本当にいいやつだ。
When Sunakawa returns with the drinks, he sees Takeo and Rinko getting along well, and a smile tugs at his lips. That evening, Sunakawa tells Takeo that Rinko was a nice girl. Takeo was initially surprised. He is surprised because it's the first time in over 10 years that he's heard Sunakawa compliment a girl. Rinko then texts Sunakawa, asking if he wants to watch Takeo's wrestling match together. On the day of the match, Takeo wins the championship without a doubt, his joy evident. Outside the arena, Rinko stands alone with a gift to celebrate Takeo's victory. Meanwhile, Sunakawa is surrounded by a group of girls. Takeo wanted to step in and help Rinko shoo away the girls, but Rinko told him it was fine and asked him to open the gift first. As Takeo ate his favorite rice ball, he explained to Rinko about Sunakawa. He told her that Sunakawa just wasn't good at handling relationships but assured her that Sunakawa was not a jerk and she could trust him. Unexpectedly, Rinko started to tear up after hearing Takeo's words. She quickly excused herself, claiming she had something in her eye, and left. Takeo sensed something was off. Could it be that Rinko liked him, not Sunakawa? Though the odds were slim, it wasn't impossible. Maybe he had pushed her towards Sunakawa, betraying her feelings, which made her cry. It suddenly made sense why Rinko had made a special stuffed cake just for him among all the desserts. Imagining himself in a romantic movie, Takeo ran after her and found Rinko crying alone. He finally mustered the courage to express his feelings to her. Just then, Sunakawa appeared and took Rinko away, leaving Takeo wondering if he had overthought everything. Alone on the rooftop, Takeo reflected on the saying that love and food should not be wasted. While love was elusive, food was within reach. Rinko genuinely liked Takeo. Her tearfulness stemmed from love. She mistook Takeo's words on the rooftop as a gentle rejection. Sunakawa explained everything to her. From a young age, Sunakawa was a loner, and other kids called him swing weirdo, but Takeo didn't care and played with him anyway. Once, Takeo found a dog and grew fond of it. When he saw a missing dog poster, he realized the dog had an owner. Despite his reluctance, Takeo contacted the owner and returned the dog. Takeo's life motto was all about letting others be happy. Clearly, Rinko didn't understand Sunakawa's subtext as well as Takeo did. Rinko's arrival disrupted the peaceful life between him and Takeo, much like that dog once did. On the rooftop, Takeo had already finished all the rice balls with tears in his eyes. When Rinko prepared more desserts and wanted to meet Takeo again, he turned her down, claiming he had club activities. Rinko's friends wondered which club had activities that day, and she praised Takeo, mentioning his involvement in soccer, baseball, and shot put. Her friends admired the photos of Takeo on her phone. They decided to organize a group date to foster relationships. When Takeo received the invitation, he mistakenly thought Rinko wanted to see Sunakawa and urged him to join the group date. Willing to play wingman, Sunakawa initially didn't plan to join Takeo and Rinko's meeting. Just then, 3 classmates insisted on tagging along. On the day of the group date, Rinko eagerly introduced Takeo to her friends.
竹雄くんです。
After hearing about Takeo, her friends fell silent. Now, all the girls wanted to know the name of the guy next to Takeo, whom they had mistaken for Takeo. The 3 friends quickly surrounded Sunakawa and asked if he had a girlfriend. Without hesitation, Sunakawa replied no. Takeo was shocked, but he still thought that Sunakawa just wasn't good at handling relationships. Throughout all the activities, Takeo wore a serious expression, thinking about how to bring the two together. It wasn't until they rode the roller coaster that Takeo finally let his guard down. Just when he was at a loss, Rinko surprisingly sat next to him.
スナー！何をやってるんだお前は！お前は！あのもんだけ隅っこのスナちゃんだっただろう！
Outside the restaurant afterward, Takeo overheard Rinko's friends making fun of his looks. Although it upset him a little, he was used to such comments. But then, he heard Rinko's voice from behind.
竹雄くんはかっこいい。
Takeo was deeply moved. feeling even more certain that Rinko was a good girl. Inside the haunted house, Takeo urged Sunakawa to cherish Rinko. Seeing the mutual misunderstandings between the two, Sunakawa tried to give Takeo another hint, but just as he was about to speak, Takeo interrupted. Takeo noticed a strange smell, and soon an alarm went off. A fire had broken out in the haunted house, quickly spreading and blocking all exits. In the nick of time, Sunakawa found a vent and pointed out that the wall there was thinner and could lead outside. Before he could finish his sentence, Takeo understood Sunakawa's meaning and charged at the wall, but it didn't budge. Still, Takeo didn't give up. After several more attempts, the wall finally cracked. Seeing hope, Takeo gathered all his strength. The wall collapsed, and Takeo started evacuating everyone, staying behind himself. Just then, a giant stone coffin fell toward Rinko. Sunakawa protected her in time, and above them, holding up the coffin with all his might, was Takeo. He signaled Sunakawa to take Rinko and leave quickly. Even though he was Takeo, he wasn't superhuman. After ensuring Rinko's safety, Sunakawa tried to go back to help Takeo but was stopped by the staff. Takeo was nearly exhausted when suddenly, he felt a hand on his back. Turning around, he saw that it was Rinko. Though her strength was insignificant, the energy of love was enough to break through the obstacles. After escaping, Sunakawa finally told Takeo that the reason he hadn't dated anyone for so many years was that almost every girl who approached him ended up badmouthing Takeo. But Rinko was different.
タケオくんって優しいし強いしとにかくかっこいいんだよ.
After this incident, Rinko's friends began to accept Takeo, or at least they didn't dislike him as much. Sunakawa still hoped that the expressions of love would come from them directly. With that, Sunakawa thought Takeo would understand, but he overestimated Takeo's emotional intelligence. Takeo misunderstood even more, thinking Sunakawa deeply loved Rinko but was too shy to express it. Just as they were about to head home, the girl Takeo had a crush on in middle school suddenly appeared. The girl, named Kagami, was working part-time at the haunted house. When she heard that a high schooler, who looked like a gorilla, had crashed through a wall to save everyone, she immediately thought it might be Takeo. As Takeo and Kagami exchanged pleasantries, Rinko came over to return Takeo's school uniform. Using her intuition, Kagami asked if Rinko was Takeo's girlfriend. Without hesitation, Takeo denied it, as if each word was a critical hit, causing Rinko visible pain. Though she kept smiling, the light in her eyes dimmed. She returned the uniform to Takeo and quickly left. After that day, neither Takeo nor Rinko contacted each other. One day, while Rinko's friends were gathering information about Sunakawa, they discovered that Kagami had been rejected by Sunakawa, while Takeo had secretly liked her for 3 years in middle school. Hearing this, Rinko assumed Takeo had distanced himself from her that day because of Kagami. Her friends hurried to comfort her, saying that was all in the past and Takeo's crush didn't mean anything now. Then, they shared another piece of news about Sunakawa, creating an opportunity for Rinko to meet Takeo. Feeling heartbroken, Takeo received a text from Rinko asking to meet alone. He asked his mom if meeting a girl alone counted as a date. His mom told him it's only a date if both people like each other. Takeo really wanted to see Rinko and thought if he could just suppress his feelings for her, it wouldn't be a betrayal to Sunakawa. But as soon as he saw Rinko's cute, playful demeanor, his defenses crumbled. Trying to control his emotions, Takeo asked Rinko what she wanted to talk about. Her friends had told her that Sunakawa's birthday was next week, and since Takeo knew him best, she wanted to go gift shopping together.
よし任せておけ
Thus, they had their first date under the guise of choosing a gift. Takeo kept a distance, while Rinko tried her best to keep up with his pace. Gradually, they became more comfortable, even taking Purikura photos together, forgetting they were there to shop for a gift. In the end, they bought a bag of flour, planning to bake a cake for Sunakawa.
そんな風に思われたら最高に幸せだろうな。
タケオくんって好きな人いるんだ。
ああ。
Clearly, they were on different wavelengths. On their way home, They passed a bridge, and Takeo excitedly called Rinko to look at the fish. He told her how he and Sunakawa would spend entire days counting fish from the bridge when they were kids. Rinko asked if it wasn't boring. Takeo admitted it seemed strange now. Rinko said that doing anything with someone you like isn't boring. After this unproductive conversation, Rinko asked if he could become as close a friend to Takeo as Sunakawa was, so she could help him with relationship issues from a girl's perspective.
俺たちはいい友人だ。
They parted ways, with Rinko hiding her feelings behind teary eyes. Back home, Takeo went to Sunakawa's door to remind him to cancel all plans on his birthday because Rinko had a surprise for him. Sunakawa felt a bit exasperated, thinking he was still giving hints to a blockhead. But when he opened the door, Takeo was already gone. As dusk fell, Takeo's father told him that as long as he thought of someone, the stars would show the faces of his loved ones. Sunakawa overheard this conversation and decided to help again. He texted Takeo, saying he was busy on his birthday, and called Rinko, who seemed to be crying on the phone. Hearing this, Takeo rushed out to the cake shop Sunakawa mentioned. The shopkeeper recognized Takeo at once. Looking at the familiar cakes, the shopkeeper told Takeo that Rinko had been learning to bake there for a boy she loved. Confused, Takeo left the shop, and Sunakawa texted him to visit their family's vegetable shop next. Takeo's mom had known all along that Rinko liked Takeo. Rinko had asked about Takeo's favorite foods there, which explained why his mom had made a comment when Takeo was texting Rinko. Sunakawa's texts led Takeo to various sweet shops, each place revealing Rinko's love for him. Realizing he was right about Rinko's feelings, he ran to her place. Meanwhile, Rinko was looking through her dessert-making notebook, her feelings resurfacing with each memory. She reaffirmed her love for Takeo, deciding not to let a minor setback defeat her. Love was a question to be answered. Just then, she heard Takeo's voice shouting. The sound of his footsteps grew louder, shaking the ground. As his shouts became deafening, Rinko ran toward the noise, meeting Takeo on the bridge where they had parted. Finally, Takeo gathered the courage to confess his feelings.
初めて会った時から好きだ。かなりものすごく好きだ。
うちもタケオくん好き。
On Sunakawa's birthday, seeing the two of them together, Sunakawa smiled happily. Lacking romantic experience, their first hand-holding was a bit awkward. To avoid messing up their first kiss, Takeo made a request to Sunakawa.
練習させてくれ。あ、キスさせてくれ。
大問題だ。
Sunakawa felt something was off, recalling when Takeo had given him a button from his school uniform after graduation and had always looked at him with a strange gaze. Everything suddenly seemed off.